they have to say. These guys have some peppy comments for us. Let's listen.
You could look for a good-looking guy as myself, get mean, and just tear the club up. I'm going to tear Tim Witherspoon up. You know, he's a good fighter, but I'm a better fighter, and I'm going to show it. He's out of there.
If Monte Barrett making mistakes, I'm going to hang a sign over his eyes saying closed for the weekend.
Oh, Tim Witherspoon is fun, and so is Monte Barrett for that matter. But I'll tell you what, never a dull moment with those guys.
All right, now take a look at the tail of the tape, and we see, well, the height's exactly the same, but there's a couple of other differences.
Well, obviously Witherspoon a much older fighter, and the reach advantage does go to Monte Barrett, who, by the way, has an excellent jab, so he'll try and utilize that reach with the jab, if at all humanly possible. And the rules, 10-point must, 3 judges score, no standing 8. As we look down, you see you cannot be saved by the bell in any round. And again, if there's a clash of heads and the fight should be stopped due to a cut before the end of the 4th, it'll be no contest. After that, they would go to the scorecards.
All right, we're just about set to go. Ring announcer Dean Stone is standing by, so Dean, take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout of the evening is scheduled for 10 rounds in the heavyweight division. Your referee in charge of the action, Dick Bukowski. Introducing first, in the blue corner, wearing white and black, weighing in at 235 1/4 pounds. From Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, his professional record, 51 victories, 35 coming by way of knockout, with 10 defeats and 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2-time world heavyweight champion, Terrible Tim Witherspoon. His opponent, across the ring in the red corner, wearing burgundy and black, weighs in at 224 1/2 pounds. From Queens, New York, his professional record, 24 victories, 15 coming by way of knockout, with 2 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Monte Barrett.
So we're set to go with our second fight of the evening, this one in the heavyweight division. Monte Barrett, Tim Witherspoon. You can see why Al and I are fond of both of these guys. 2 wonderful guys, 2 terrific athletes. Tim Witherspoon, at 43 years of age, has his work cut out for him against a young Monte Barrett. We're set to go. Round number 1 is underway.
And Barrett trained by Eddie Mustafa Muhammad, who is a wonderful trainer and, of course, a former light heavyweight champion of the world.
Now, Monte Barrett wants to establish his jab, and Tim Witherspoon is a guy who loads up early. As you saw that winging, wild, windmill-type right hand. Tim would like to take him out early if he possibly can and not let this thing go too many rounds. Monte Barrett, on the other hand, knows that Tim can still be dangerous. Tim is a cagey fighter. He's a guy that'll use the jab, and then all of a sudden, out of no place, will be a sneaky right hand.
Witherspoon has great power in that right hand, but also has a pretty good left hand. Understand that? Stop.
This is a tough fight right away. You get the idea that both guys would like to end this in a hurry. Witherspoon digs to the body, bangs him upstairs in the head. And Dick Bukowski says, hey, you've got to stop holding and hitting like that. A couple of jabs by Barrett, but they don't get through. That one did, and the right hand right behind it as Tim answers with a wild left hook that just whistles past the nose of Monte Barrett. Tim shuffles forward, tries to get Monte into that corner. Monte ties him up. Watch Tim dig inside. He loves to throw that looping overhand right hand when a man has his hands draped around his body. I'll tell you this, if Monte's going to tie up Tim, you better be sure the right hand is tied up, or you're going to feel it behind your head. There's the right hand short. In the old days, about 10 years ago, that looping right hand would have been on the jaw. And that's the difference. This is round one, scheduled for 10. Tim Witherspoon, of course, in the white trunks. Monte Barrett showing some movement. Tim missing a lot of shots, too.
One of the dangers if you're a young guy fighting Tim Witherspoon now is to think to really underestimate him, even though clearly it's not the same Tim Witherspoon of the past. He still does bring power to the ball game.
And ring smarts, too. He by no means can execute the things he used to be able to do, but he really is a smart fighter. A pretty good defensive fighter in his prime, too. And Monte has to deal with all this in his head. I mean, Monte at age 30 can't afford to lose to a Tim Witherspoon, or he's not going to be able to move up into the rankings and get a shot. Against Whitaker and Klitschko, who are, well, Klitschko's a world-ranked fighter. He hasn't been successful, so he needs a win tonight, and then a win of somebody in the top 15 or so to get himself in line for a title shot. Tim able to protect himself with that right hand. Bell ends a pretty action-packed first round. Who wins that round, Al?
That was a tough round to call. Witherspoon made some inroads with his punches, but the jab of Barrett was there. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad.
The roll, the left hook is there for you. You see what I'm saying? But the jab is the key. I don't want you to be grabbing him. All right? Don't grab him. Roll underneath and come back with the left hook. Short left hook. That's all it is. But the jab is the key. Listen now.
With his back to you is Jimmy Glenn, one of the great Thailand of all time, too.
Wonderful boxing figure.
Roll, left hook. Right to the chin. You can't miss. You hit him already.
So him in
Bring the water out. That's why I want you to fire the shots.
Slim Robinson been with him for years and
uppercut,
years.
right uppercut. Okay. You want a little bit more water, Tim? Is that all right, Jimmy? Okay, now remember what I said. Jimmy coming right uppercut. Look his body.
Monte Barrett, after the bell, whacks Witherspoon with the right hand, kind of in response to a Witherspoon punch.
All right, back to live action. Bob Sheridan, Al Bernstein, Dave Bontempo. We're at the Turning Stone Casino and Resort. Round two between Tim Witherspoon and Monte Barrett. If you know boxing, you know Tim Witherspoon, former two-time world champ, fought everybody, as Al said at the start of the fight. Monte tries to get that jab in the face and use the 3 inches and reach advantage that he has. But it's funny that Monte has a reach advantage, and it looks like Tim has longer arms. Sliding to his left. Tim likes to load up punches early. Monte's aware of that, too, as he tries to hold him off with a jab. Monte looks like he wants to fight sort of defensively for the first 3, 4, 5 rounds of this fight, should it go that long, and don't allow Witherspoon to catch up with him. Just prevent that from happening. How to get the 43-year-old Witherspoon to run out of gas.
Barrett is a fighter who is at his most effective when he can fight at a methodical pace using his jab and combinations without being drawn into a wild firefight or a mauling, brawling thing on the inside.
By the way, in case you don't think Tim can go the distance, in his last 5 fights, he went 12 rounds 5 fights ago against Mike Cedillo in Antigua. And against Castillo in Atlantic City, he went 10 rounds, and that was in March of this year. So he can go still.
I did that Castillo fight, and it was, he hung in there the entire time, and he was the one in the last round or two that was really doing the best work. So even against the younger man, it was Tim Witherspoon who was getting the job done.
Barrett not able to land any right hands, and if he wants to keep Tim off him early, he's got to land a right hand soon. Tim just comes forward, pounds the body. I saw Tim in one of the Legends fights. We broadcast the fight a couple of years ago when he fought Greg Page, and of course Greg Page severely injured in his last fight. We understand he's doing a little bit better. Thank God for that. But I hate to see really guys that I like as much as I like Tim Witherspoon fighting at age 43. He's such a colorful guy. And he can attack. I've only fought 50-some odd fights. And he's fought more than that, you know. And he's had some tough fights, too. The bell ends the second round. Barrett not able to do too much, Al.
No, he has actually been somewhat ineffective. I think more so than he would have imagined in this fight. Again,
the punches, he's in position for you to throw your punches. You're not even throwing your punches. You're grabbing, you're tying yourself up by grabbing him. Let your hands go, son, and keep rolling. And bring the punches up underneath, right to the chin. He's right there for you. His navel will lead you right to his chin. Up. All right? Stop rolling out and running from this man. This man is gone, Judge. You let the man get brave.
You have to work.
All right? You're not working.
You a daydreamer.
Come on, baby. What you doing? Come
Work
on, this is my
inside.
action.
Okay.
Well, do it, man. Show me, man. You know, just go to work.
Come on.
All right? Let's go to work then.
Let's go. Let's go, gang.
Here is Monte Barrett getting nailed on the inside there. And then finally we would see Witherspoon getting hit with that strong jab by Barrett. He'd like to land more of those.
All right, here we go with round number 3 from Turning Stone Casino in upstate New York. We're between Syracuse and Albany, and it's a beautiful part of New York. Many of you people watching around the world think of New York as New York City. Well, there's a whole big state here, and it's beautiful.
We've been having a nice time up here in upstate New York. Both the folks here at Turning Stone and all the folks in Verona. It's been really a delight.
Certainly has. Round 3, Witherspoon in the white trunks, trying to hunt down Monte Barrett in the early going here. Like to prevent this from going too many rounds with Tim, and of course Barrett wants to drag Tim into the 6th, 7th, and 8th round and try to pick up the pace a little bit more. Tim flat-footed, prods forward. Monte satisfied to just hold him off. Tim comes with the uppercut inside. Monte tries to do something. What a pity-pat punches so far by Monte Barrett. Tim's loading up shots. Missed 2 shots. Monte able to slip them. Wow, with his own left hand. Monte just touches him easy with the right hand, trying to get in position to land a power shot.
There's a left hook to the body by Barrett. If I'm Monte Barrett, I'm going to go to that body and try and make this 43-year-old guy feel it. 43-year-old guy who's carrying probably an extra 10 pounds than he should. So
I think he heard you, Al, because right after that he looked at you and then banged him right underneath the left elbow to the body.
I like when the fighters listen to what I have to say. I really do.
I love it. Round 3 action continues. Witherspoon, I thought, won the first couple of rounds. Barrett has thrown more punches in this round, more effective punches too. And maybe in the process of stealing this round from Tim. Tim's jaw hanging down just a bit as he tries to get the oxygen into those aged lungs. Snapping out the left is Barrett, but not really effective. He wants to bang the body when he gets inside, but the ref, Dick Pacosdi, says, no, let's separate it, guys.
Here's the Barrett jab, and that was a weapon he really thought he would use a lot of it. One of the things that's not happening is the right hand behind it that I know he wants to land, and he has a halfway decent right hand, has not been following that jab.
Well, in the first round, Al, it was difficult for him to do anything because Tim was just really fresh and throwing all kinds of winging shots. But the pace is slowed down considerably now, so Monte is starting to get a little bit busier. He's pressuring Tim a little bit more. He's banging. He missed that shot there, but he wants to get to the body. He's got the right idea. He bangs him lightly to the left side of the head, comes with the uppercut, hits him again on top of the ear. Closing seconds now for third. And the third round is in the books. All right, Al, here we are in Jackie Frazier-Ladd's locker room. There she is. Look at that hand speed. Not bad.
Good night.
Well, she is very fired up for this fight. A 39-year-old lady who is an attorney, graduated Villanova Law School, was a tremendous basketball player at American University, picked up boxing really around the time when Layla Ali started to make a name for herself. She said, you know what, I'm an athlete. I can make it work, and I can create this fight. If you think about it, this fight is happening primarily because of the fact that this woman made it her business to get into boxing and try and be good enough at this stage to make this fight happen. And she has been the moving force of this promotion. She is an articulate, delightful lady who has spent a lot of time working with different people to promote this fight in terms of talking about it.
She certainly has, and no matter what happens in the ring, and Lord knows we're hoping it'll be really fireworks in the ring, this promotion is a tremendous success, and I know that's why you folks that are watching want to see this fight. But right now we're in the 4th round of a heavyweight battle, and it is a battle between Monte Barrett and Tim Witherspoon. Pace slowed down a little bit in the 3rd round as the shift of momentum goes a little bit from Tim Witherspoon's wild, booming, looping punches in the first 2 rounds to Barrett trying to get a little bit more scientific and land some shots to the inside in the 3rd round, which he did, and I thought he won the 3rd round. And let's see what happens here as the 4th round unfolds.
How about Jackie Frazier-Ladd dropped 43 pounds since she started training for boxing, and many women get into the sport for that very reason.
Tremendous effort. Maybe that's what I need to do.
Well, there you go. See, we'll start sparring, Bob.
Round number 4, scheduled for 10. The big guys, heavyweight. See that? When Tim has his right hand free and you're in a clinch, you better get that thing tied up or you're going to get it behind your left ear. I guarantee you that. He did it real effectively. There's a pretty good left hook, but taken behind the ear of Barrett. And Tim is a guy that will kind of lull you to sleep and then all of a sudden, bang, just like that right hand. He doesn't have the pinpoint, and I won't say when he was really in his prime did he have pinpoint punching, but he was sneaky. He had great defense, and then all of a sudden he nailed it with a shot that you just didn't see or expect, and that's the way he fought.
He always had a very good right hand, and it was a punch that many heavyweights were hit with and hurt with. Monte Barrett has let himself settle in here to one of those sluggish heavyweight fights where a lot of grappling goes on, a lot of holding, and that's not what he wants in this fight.
No, he'd like to establish himself, but you know something, Al, on the other hand, if he struggles with Tim Witherspoon, he can be snapped up as an opponent by a top 5 or 6 ranked fighter in a hurry. Yeah, he beat Tim Witherspoon, if he can beat Tim Witherspoon. Right now, the fight is fairly even. Tim won the first couple rounds. Monte won the 3rd, in my opinion, and this one's up for grabs, but there's a long way to go yet. Monte on his toes. Tim continues to plod forward with the jaw held down.
Barrett is using his jab, but not using it with a lot of conviction. And I know that was a punch he wanted to land much better in this fight, and he thought that was going to be a weapon that would set up other power punches, but not so far in this fight.
Well, he said to me, too, that, I've got to be smart and stay focused like it was in the Page fight when I fought Phil Jackson. I got to really concentrate on this guy because I'm aware that this guy could hurt me. Number 4 is in the books. That's a tough round to score. Not a lot of action, and both guys at different times landed shots.
That right here, that's the jab at him. You're popping that jab at him, Timmy, but you're not coming back with your right hand. You're knocking his head up. That's what I mean?
Okay. Well, right hand behind it.
Pumping that jab, and your right hand goes right behind it. Okay.
Okay. Couple deep breaths.
Come on. Give me that water. Give me the water.
Coming up on round 5.
Come on now. That's one. And let your hands go. I don't see nothing, baby.
Try to hit him with a hook. With a good hook. Set him up with a hook.
Straight punch. Bring him underneath. Bring him underneath. Bring him underneath. Short shot.
Short.
Good. Suck it up. Nuts and guts now.
Short.
Suck it up.
Come on.
It's gonna work.
Tim Witherspoon using his own jab more effectively than Barrett is using his right now. That a real strong jab, landing almost like it's a good power right hand and driving Barrett against the ropes.
Back to live action now. Turning Stone Casino in Verona, New York. Bob Sheridan, Al Bernstein, Dave Bontempo. Glad that you can be with us wherever you're watching. The principals in the ring, Monte Barrett in the dark trunks, maroon in color, burgundy, and Tim Witherspoon in the white trunks. Tim gets his jab through. Monte ties him up. Watch the right hand now at Tim. He has it free. Not what you want to do. He's tied up the left hand, but watch the right hand at Tim. He shakes out of there this time.
It's because he didn't hear you. If he'd have heard you, he would have done. You're going to say it a little louder.
Nothing fancy about this one. Uppercut lands, snaps the head back of Barrett that time. Barrett seemed to lack a little bit of power with the right hand. I mean, he pity-pats with it with the uppercut. He'll throw it soft with the right hand. He doesn't throw it with conviction, and every once in a while he will, but he throws it with a lack of conviction a lot of times too, and he looks awkward when he does it.
Well, he has landed those rights against Witherspoon, but he is not. He just isn't really a big puncher against most opponents. He's got 15 KOs and his 24 wins. So, and you're right about the conviction. A lot of time Monte Barrett will throw it off his back foot. He won't be really pronating the punch as he should.
Monte Barrett had 4 wins in 96, 9 wins in 97, 6 wins in 98, 2 wins and a loss in 99. Last year he had 2 victories and a loss, and he was TKO'd by Vladimir Klitschko. No absolute disgrace there. And he came back to beat Mario Colli in his only fight this year, which was in January. So he wants this win over Tim Witherspoon. Tim tries to hunt him down as Monte gets up in the toes, feints right, feints left, and then hangs on.
What's your head in there?
Barrett going downstairs again now, and he has really ignored that body attack, which was started a few rounds ago.
That would be successful if he would do it. That's the place to hurt Tim. Bang him to that big body of his, the aging body. Get him behind the elbows, crack his ribs, drill him with really vicious shots to the body, not tentative right hands. Instead, it's Tim with another one of those sneaky inside left hooks and spins ahead again of Barrett. There's Tim. Notice that Tim still has the technique. He drives off the back foot, doesn't have the power, doesn't have the quickness, still knows what he's doing in there with the left hand.
The Witherspoon jab has been probably the major story in this bout.
The bell ends round 5. All right, let's go to Dave Bontempo. He's got Aaron Pryor. Dave?
All right, Aaron Pryor, the Hawk, man who engaged in some of the most memorable slugfests, but the one with Alexis Arguello, especially that first one.
Yes, it was. Hey, it's exciting to be in this atmosphere again. The people can tell something big is going to happen. So that's how excited the atmosphere is right now for me.
What is it like being here for you on Hall of Fame weekend and with the Ali Frazier talk, too?
It's exciting. It gives me a lift on my career. It makes me think back to my good days and my championship days. It's exciting. I mean, it's a big fight.
You were part of big fights. What are the girls going through right now, the big attention and everything here?
Well, the girls are going through a mental thing here. Now they're going to make it physical. And this is the transaction that they're going to have to make to be good fighters.
Okay, Aaron, thank you. And back to ringside.
All right, here we go. Back to live action. This is round number 6. Scheduled for 10.
Hawk time with Aaron Pryor. What a great fighter he was. The great match with Alexis Arguello, the guy who is rebounding very well now, working with fighters in the Cincinnati area and doing a good job with amateurs.
Documented the troubles he had after he retired from boxing, and I'm so glad to see him healthy and working. He's a terrific kid.
He's doing real well. I've been to some charity events with him, and he is doing well. Monte Barrett now hoping to do a little better against Tim Witherspoon. He's picked up the pace, I think, in the last round or two.
Well, he must pick up the pace. And who's this guy sneaking in behind me here, Al? Why, that's Joe Frazier. Smoking Joe has made his appearance. And, you know, there's rumors that Ali might show up before it's all over. First reported that Muhammad had a NASCAR obligation tonight and wouldn't be here, but there was a very definite rumor that he might show up. So that's all remains to be seen. But Joe Frazier has been cited.
He has been cited, and Ali likes to surprise people in an arena. So we'll see if he ends up seeing his daughter fight tonight. We know one thing, Joe Frazier will.
Monte Barrett tries to do something with Tim. He has him in the corner, but Tim appears to have more power than Monte, even at this stage in round number 6. Tim does that slick covering up where he crosses those hands in front of him, kind of George Foreman style, as Monte tries to work downstairs and dig to the body. Tim comes up, cracks him with the left hand, bangs him behind the left ear with the right hand.
One of the strategic errors I think Monte Barrett is making is he's allowing himself to let his punches get smothered, and he's wading in on the inside against a big guy who can lean on him. He should be staying on the outside there and trying to pinpoint those punches against Witherspoon. There he goes.
Tim just hiding behind that right glove and trying to pick off the shots of Barrett. Barrett, you know, it's easy to say from where we are, but if he could have come up with a left hook, whether he had that right hand crossed in front of him. Tim is slick, though. Sometimes he'll have that hand crossed in front of him when he thinks the guy's throwing the right hand, and the right ear is exposed for the left hook, but he smothers the right hand by catching it. That's the experience. By the way, let's make no mistake about it. This isn't one of the great heavyweight battles of all time. We're not trying to sell that to you folks, but it's an interesting fight, to say the least.
Well, it's being fought at an even pace, that's for sure. And Monte Barrett, I think, strategically, would just like this to be a slightly different fight. And I'm starting to wonder if his right hand might not be a little hurt. He has thrown so few right hands in the last 3 or 4 rounds.
It's been noticeable throughout the lack of the right hands, and the ones that he has thrown have not demonstrated any power. You know, with all the waiting that Tim's been doing and all the catching that Tim's been doing on 3 different occasions in this round, which is coming to a rapid close, he's really nailed him with shots.
Yeah, but he has been very lethargic, and Barrett has done most of the work, and I think that's a tired Tim Witherspoon going back to his corner.
You had him hurt over there. Water. My teeth, let me get teeth. His teeth, give my teeth real quick.
There he is, Joe Frazier, the former heavyweight champion of the world, getting a response from the crowd. Joe Frazier, who engaged, of course, in those 3 great fights with Muhammad Ali, winning one of them and helping to create what unquestionably is one of the top 2 or 3 rivalries ever in the history of not just boxing, but all sport.
Bring it up, Lord. And roll. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. That's all. Don't stand there and roll. And don't punch. Roll, punch. Hey, rumble now. On the ropes, rumble. Rumble with him on the rope, baby. Come on. Rumble with him on the rope.
Eddie Mustafa Muhammad with a pep talk. Here we go to round number 7. Now let's see if Monte Barrett can pick up the pace. By the way, based on aggressiveness, I gave Barrett the last round. I've got it 58-57 with Witherspoon out in front by a point. But Barrett now apparently is in the stage where he wants to be. And now it looks like maybe some adrenaline has kicked in because he's jabbing. He's fighting this guy now. He thinks he's got Tim tied and softened up enough. Tim plods forward. See the way he used that shoulder to bang his head back? He knows every trick in the Philadelphia gym, I'll tell you. You see Monte up on the toes, bouncing back, feints left, back to his right, loads up the right hand that time, which sails past the jaw of Tim Witherspoon.
Witherspoon has been very sparing with his punches in the last several rounds, but for the first time now he's coming forward and at least going after Monte Barrett.
Well, he took that whole last round off. I mean, he just sat back in that corner and let Barrett work on him and catch punches. On 3 occasions he did land blows, but Monte's fighting a different fight now. He wants to be out in the center of the ring. When he does get inside, he's trying to tie him up and push him off like he wants to get busier and try to work hard with this guy. I mean, it's tough to look good against an aging guy that's as sneaky and as experienced as Tim Witherspoon, who fights in spurts. It's hard to look good against him.
Well, Tim, you mentioned the fact that Witherspoon is very cagey. He is the ultimate definition of a crafty veteran at this juncture. But, you know, he went through a bad stretch where there were a lot of people that did do well against him. You know, he lost to Greg Page, lost to Brian Nielsen, lost to Galata, lost to Jimmy Thunder, lost to Larry Donald. So those were all fights that took place in 97 through 99. But we saw that mark. He's 5-0-1 in his last 6 fights, Witherspoon. So clearly he's gotten somehow a resurgence at 43. But right now, it's going to be an interesting decision if it goes to that, and it looks like it will, because mostly Barrett has been more aggressive, and yet you can't say it's all been effective aggression. And unfortunately, this has turned into one of those heavyweight fights that we see from time to time that just ends up looking more Walsh-like, even though clearly punches are being thrown. People are trying, it just doesn't pan out. And right now, that's what this fight is.
Inside of 20 seconds to go in the 7th round. Barrett trying to make a fight of it. Tim Witherspoon plods forward. Big, aging, cagey vet. Trying to snatch a win for his record, just so we can keep fighting. And that's it for the 7th round. Here we are at beautiful Turning Stone Casino here in Verona, New York. Dave Bontempo is with the former champion of the world, Joe Frazier. Dave?
Hey, Joe, everything is about the talk of Ali Frazier, the great rivalry. What does it feel like for you to have it rekindled here with all of this?
Well, I would say number one, it's always great to be back in the, let's say, Turner Casino, you know what I mean, here with the people in New York, and let's say the two girls are fighting, you know. I don't want the war to keep going on like, let's say, the father and I want it to be a clean fight, an understanding fight, better lady win.
Do you like the fact your daughter fighting here? Do you like the rivalry for the girls?
Well, therefore, I'd love to see, let's say, the whole, but you can't get no more. The place is so loud and packed, so therefore these girls are going to go to war.
She's going to throw the hook, right, Joe?
Big fight?
She'll throw the hook, won't she, Jackie?
Oh, Jackie fight with both hands. Right. Jackie can fight, and she don't need her daddy to fight. She can fight.
All right, Joe, thanks for stopping by with us. We'll take it back to ringside.
All right.
Are you kidding? When she came out of the womb, she was throwing that left hook. I don't, girl or boy, I think every Frazier child came out of the womb and said, I think I can throw that left hook.
A lot of tough kids from Philadelphia, male and female. Jackie's one of them. We'll find out how tough a little bit later on tonight when she takes on Layla Ali. Meanwhile, we're in round 8 action of a tough, grueling, hard-fought battle for the aging Tim Witherspoon, and Monte Barrett trying the best he can to snatch a victory away from this guy. Trying to bang the body. Instead, it's Tim who really laces the ribs that time.
A moment ago, the uppercut by Monte Barrett got in, and that's interestingly, it's a punch he hasn't tried much in this fight, but it landed, and you would think it might serve him well. But see, there's a strategic error by Monte, just laying in. He's not even being dragged in by Witherspoon. He's deciding to lay in there with him.
Inside there, the best punch of that whole probably 15 seconds of laying on each other was a pretty good left hook by Tim Witherspoon. While Barrett's hands were moving, nothing was happening, and it happened right above a judge, so probably on that judge's scorecard anyway. He saw that nice left hook by Tim in the midst of all of that nothing.
We mentioned that Witherspoon, who even though he's 43, went 10 rounds with Castillo. Leosier Castillo, a Cuban fighter. That was just in March. So, and he was strong in the last couple of rounds. So he can certainly go 10 even at this age. Although in this fight, less energy is being expended by him, and nevertheless, he still looks worn down.
He gets that jab in the face, but a punishing right hand on the ear of Tim Witherspoon by Barrett. Barrett backs off. He's sucking a lot of oxygen into you. See that mouth of his changing expression too. He's trying to get as much oxygen into those lungs too. He wanted to get it into this area of the fight, and he tried to, especially at the start of the 6th round. He really picked up the pace, but he hasn't been able to sustain that pace either. As Tim comes forward.
Well, you know, Monte Barrett was bold in his statements before this fight, and clearly in his mind, I think the reason he said all that is he felt it was his responsibility to get a knockout in this fight, and that is about what he needed to do to market himself as a guy that's still in the thick of things in the heavyweight division. And I think even if he should get a decision win here, which is very much in doubt, Monte Barrett, and I think rightfully, will feel that the fact that he couldn't even hurt Tim Witherspoon, let alone get him out, will make him feel this was not an effective evening.
Closing seconds of the 8th. There's the bell, and it's all over.
you feel? You feel okay, Timmy?
Yeah.
You all right? Yeah. Look here. This here around here, I want you to start eating off with your right hand. Okay. And then come back with your left hook, okay? Come on. All right?
2 slow, deep breaths. Oh, he's doing the water. 2 slow, deep breaths. Yeah.
Want some more of this? All right. You want some more? Okay. Take it deep breaths. Okay, come on. Come on, all right. Hey, Timmy, hit him. Don't try to, you're trying to knock him out with every punch. See if you can hit him. See how many times you hit him. Right? You hit him real hard. You're not doing anything, son.
You have to act like a winner to beat one, baby.
Go there hard. Come back with your left hook. Right hand, left hook. Let your hands go, son. This is your career.
You got to get busy.
Come on, man. Wake up, man. Come on.
All right, so we're coming up to the 9th round of this scheduled 10-round affair in the heavyweight division. I want to give a special thanks to the promoters, So Real Communications, Absolute Boxing, and Sports International. I'll tell you this, we're hoping that the girls fight, the women's contest will be a barn burner, but the promotion is already a success. This place looks to be, if not sold out, pretty close to being sold out. And the publicity leading up to the Layla Ali, Jackie Frazier-Lyde fight has been nothing short of phenomenal. I've been around boxing, and now you have too, a lot of years, and I haven't seen too many fights like this.
Well, and I think part of it is, let's be honest, no matter what, there's cynicism about this fight, and some of it warranted. So the fact that they have been able to get as many people interested, both in the media and out, is a testimony to the fact that they've done an excellent job. And it's also a testimony to the fact that the names Ali Frazier are magic names, and even if they're not, on Joe and Muhammad. So we'll see if the intensity inside the ring now can, in some ways, justify that, and we hope it will.
Meanwhile, Tim was hit with a pretty good uppercut, and he adjusted his jaw a little bit. Monte hurt him with that, but Tim's back in the ropes again. Monte moves off, dances away. Tim goes with a shot downstairs. Monte comes with an uppercut of his own. He hangs onto the left hand of Tim and tries to flail away with his own left hand. Not a lot of success with that. Tim trying to hunt him down again to load up a right hand. Tim is showing the exhaustion now as he goes to the ropes. You know, he turned his back on him, and you're not supposed to do that. You got to protect yourselves at all the time. And Monte Barrett said, hey, you're going to pull this stuff. You're that exhausted. I'm going to nail you. This is important to me. Tim has got to really be exhausted, because to do something like that is nothing but exhaustion, not foolishness.
Well, you know, Monte Barrett now senses that there's an left hand by Witherspoon on the break, and a point's being deducted.
Wow.
And I think appropriately. That was pretty blatant.
Yeah, it was, but the point comes off, and for everything that Barrett was doing well now, it's kind of neutralized by losing the point. The point was taken away from Tim Witherspoon, but Barrett winning the round, it seemed, you know, the way the things were going. So that's what I meant, in case you wonder what I meant by neutralizing that round.
That point could make a big difference, because Monte Barrett, to get a 2-point round at this point, could be enough to put him in a good position. Very tough fight to judge. This one will be, really, this is one of those fights that I could see going in about 3 or 4 different directions in terms of the way the scoring would be. It's tough to figure out. Now, Tim Witherspoon's so tired and doing so little that you get the feeling the 10th may be a mirror image of this. Big right by Barrett.
You know, I gave Barrett the round, and with him losing the point, it is a 10-8 round on my scorecard. And you know what? I had it 77-76 in the last round, while I agree with Al, very difficult to score. But now Barrett's in front going to the 10th round.
It could easily be.
Yeah, he did.
That's unofficial.
Take that chair out of there.
And here you look at a 43-year-old fighter facing a tough 10th round.
Keep that in your mouth. Keep that in your mouth. Okay. Need some more here.
Keep your cool, Timmy. Keep your cool. Keep your cool.
Your hands now, Timmy.
Tim Witherspoon heading into the ropes there. And I guess he felt that was inappropriate on the part of Monte Barrett. The referee very late in getting in. And here's where Witherspoon feels like he's retaliating. Clear break. And that is way after the break. I mean, that one was real blatant, and that's why the referee took a point away.
Well, I've got it 86-85, but there's so many close rounds, it's very difficult. It's a close fight, folks, but that 1 point may come back to bite Tim severely. We're in the 10th round now. Bob Sheridan, Al Bernstein, Dave Montempo, your host here from Turning Stone Casino here in Verona, New York. At the Oneida Indian Nation, we're glad that you're with us because the big fireworks is still to come. Layla Ali and Jackie Frazier live. Either guy can win this thing if they finish really strong, or certainly if they would knock the opponent down.
Barrett boxing more in this round. Can he use his jab?
He started that Al in the 6th round, but he wasn't able to sustain it.
Well, he hasn't been able to really sustain one style throughout this fight, that or even being effective on the inside. But now Witherspoon's throwing so few punches that you just get the feeling this round is there for Barrett to take if this 30-year-old can show his own stamina. Barrett has been 12 rounds twice and 10 rounds on 3 occasions, so this distance is no stranger to him.
Loads up the right hand, catches Tim in the left ear, and again, noticeable Tim in the last 2 or 3 rounds, just not doing a lot. But you know something, I thought based on the heavier blows in the 8th round that he may have won the 8th round just based on 3 or 4 heavy hits. Barrett getting the 2-point round in the last round after just winning the round by a little bit, but getting the point that was taken away from Witherspoon. Got him ahead in the fight on my scorecard.
The interesting thing about Witherspoon in this round is he's been coming forward consistently, however, just not throwing punches. It's Barrett throwing almost all the punches. Since we're talking Hall of Fame people, of course, there was a fighter once who won a round of boxing without ever throwing a single punch, and that was Willie Pep. I don't exactly know how he did it, but he managed to do it. And it's one of those boxing folklore stories that are true. I don't know if Tim Witherspoon can manage that.
Inside a minute to go from the Oneida Nation Arena. Glad that you can be with us wherever you're watching. We had that action-packed Omar Shaker and a 7th round TKO victory over Lionel Ortiz. This one winding down now. About 30 seconds to go in this fight, in a very close fight. Not a barn burner, but an interesting fight nonetheless. Mostly because of the reputation of Tim, and Barrett had a difficult time with his cagey old vet that can still hang in there for 10. If he hasn't proven anything else, he's proven that tonight. Very difficult for Barrett to look good throughout the course of this. Inside of 10 seconds to go, and Tim still windmilling for knockout. Al at the bell.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough, and I think the last couple rounds might be enough to send Monte Barrett to a decision win, albeit one that still might not be as satisfying as he would like.
I scored 1 round even the 4th round. Other than that, I've got Barrett winning the second half of the fight, Tim winning a good part of the first half of the fight, and that's about the way Barrett wanted to go. If my score is right, it's 96-94 and a victory for Barrett, but there's so many close rounds, I wouldn't argue if Tim won it by a couple points either.
Yeah, it was very, very close, and many of the rounds in the middle portion of the fight were ones that it looked like Barrett was starting to turn the tide, but the early portion of the fight certainly went to Witherspoon, and it'll be interesting to see how this decision goes. I guess if you're looking for bigger messages here for Monte Barrett, the message is that he's not in the upper echelon of the heavyweight division, and for Tim Witherspoon, he can hang in still with the younger Turks in the division, but maybe not beat them.
All he wants to do, he told me, is make some money. I don't think that he has any idea that he can ever fight for a world title again. But stranger things have happened in the heavyweight division, believe me, as you well know. Don Ackerman, Frank Adams, and Tommy Hicks, all from New York, are the 3 judges in this fight as this one goes to the scorecard. Again, if you just joined us for any reason, our very first fight of the evening was really action-packed through and into the 7th round, where Omar Shaker came up with a 7th round TKO victory over Lionel Ortiz when he couldn't continue after being knocked down and falling into the ropes. The referee had to stop the fight. Omar getting a very nice 7th round TKO victory. While we wait for the decision, coming up next is our main event of the evening, and let's take a look at Layla Ali. Very relaxed, getting the hands worked on in her dressing room.
And as you look at Laila Ali, the 23-year-old who has marketed herself, and her team has marketed her, helping to lead up to this fight. She is thought of as the one of the two fighters that probably has more boxing skills. She started to work out earlier in boxing, certainly, than Jackie Frazier-Lai did, and in theory she is a better boxer puncher than Jackie Frazier, but some feel that Frazier's athletic ability and determination could be enough to carry her through. Laila Ali is very confident coming into this fight. She has absolutely no doubt she's going to win, and her statement has been, it's only how I win. So we'll see.
Well, as we said, as we look at this, a very, very close fight, so could go one way, could go the other, could be a split decision. But I think, and Al, I know you do, that Monte Barrett has won this, and it won't be long now before Dean Stone has all the scorecards together, and I guess we're just about set to go to our ring announcer, Dean Stone, who can make it official. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of hard-hitting heavyweight action here at the Turning Stone Casino Resort, Verona, we go to the scorecard. Judge Tom Hicks has it 97-92 Witherspoon. Judge Frank Adams sees it 96-94 Barrett. And Judge Don Ackerman sees it 97-93 for your winner by split decision, Monte Barrett.
So it is a split decision. Can't argue with it.
No, I think the only thing that's surprising is the wide variance of the scores. The 97-92 for Witherspoon, especially tough to imagine because of the point being taken away from Witherspoon late in that fight. But nevertheless, Monte Barrett gets the win, and not unjustifiably.
When you have wide dispersions of scores like that, it usually comes in a situation where there are very close rounds. And while people, Al, are very quick to jump on judges, they're not so critical of the fighters whose responsibility it is to win a round definitively, so they can't blame the judges at the end.
Well, yeah, obviously, when you have a lot of close rounds, they're going to go in different directions. And there were a number of them in that fight, and we talked about it during the latter portion of the fight. And also, it was a match in which it wasn't as if each of these guys were terribly active. So there were many lulls in which, as you say, fighters maybe didn't live up to their responsibility of trying to make more happen. In any case, I don't think it was inappropriate that Barrett got the decision. And either way, I don't think that was as satisfying for him as he would like. And as you point out, since 86